It's another episode of the Brett Allan Show. Thanks for watching and listening today. We appreciate it. Today we have a very special guest. We're talking Power Book Force and more. Our guest today, Kris D. Lofton, currently can be seen on this amazing show as Jannard Sampson, but also he's been a part of some amazing other projects. Ballers as Kassan on
Yes,
HBO,
sir.
Empire. The list goes on and on. Thanks for your time today. I appreciate it.
No, man. Thank you, Brett. I appreciate it, man. Definitely. I was mad that I couldn't do this sooner.
Well, we're here now, so the time has prevailed, and we're rocking and rolling. So I tell you, this is very exciting because again, you've just been a part of so many great projects, and let's talk about this because this is obviously the most current and recent for you.
Mhm.
How amazing is it to be on this show? I mean, to be a part of this power universe and to just be a part of this really massive universe and story.
Yeah, man. It still feels surreal. Like honestly, even though we're on gearing up for episode 8, so it don't seem like it's been 2 months already of it. Like I just feel like such a fan still because I was a fan of this universe since the beginning, from the pilot episode, season 1, episode 1 of the original Power. I've been a fan, so it still hasn't really all the way hit me that I'm a part of this. And like you said, up to date, I would consider this the biggest. Like, I've done cool shows and dope shows, but never at this capacity with this much responsibility and real estate and just freedom to actually grow and develop a character. That's why Ballers meant so much to me, because that was the first time I'd ever gotten to develop a character, because I was there. I think I did about 15 episodes of Ballers.
Yeah, right around there I was counting.
Something, yeah, something like that. So for me, I was kind of always the one-off guy, the memorable guest star who would come in for that one episode, and the arc was just so dope that everybody's like, yo, that's Kid Fofo from Empire. But in reality, I was in one episode.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But everyone seems to remember that. But so when things like Ballers happen and then Power happened as the sophomore, if you will, because Ballers was like the freshman. And now it's like, all right, you graduated and they put you straight on the varsity now because you're on Power. This ain't Ballers, this Power. The fans are just different. The fans are different. Yeah. I think outside of Game of Thrones, I don't think I've ever seen this like before.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we had Alex Lepreon, who is part of this universe.
Yeah, Effie.
And it's interesting that you talk about the fans, because I had said something deep into our conversation about the interview. I don't even remember saying it. And man, like people started emailing and sending DMs and really had a lot to say about this show. Like, and it wasn't necessarily a spoiler, but it definitely sort of revealed a little bit. And of course, we're talking, her publicist is with us, and we're not even thinking about this conversation. And people are like, please, please, please note on there that you're talking about the future of this character and things like that. It's crazy. And I was doing some reading about that, and it's true. Like, the fan base for this show is just amazing. You talk about having a lot of responsibility. I'm curious, as an actor, as a storyteller, how do you mitigate all of that going from Ballers, which I feel like you had a huge role on that show, maybe, and they talk about you a lot in a lot of episodes. Your name comes up, Kassan this, Kassan that, and then of course you make appearances. But let's talk about this. Obviously, how are you managing that? Like, what is some of your ways that you kind of deal with that? Because I can imagine if you don't have something, it could almost be overwhelming on some level, maybe.
Yeah. So what I'm doing now is I'm learning that I can't respond to everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm the person that had to learn that like the hard way, because I'm the guy who does. Like I'm the guy, I don't care if all it is, if I double tap your story reply or what you DM'd me and I just send an emoji of the green light gang or the arm, or I reply to everybody. But like this is when I realized, okay, no, bro, you're on Power now. It's almost impossible to reply to everybody. So like I just got better with my discernment on which I reply to. I still try to do as many as I can, which is still a crazy amount. But I think the level of responsibility that kind of changed is the difference is, and this is what the fans don't really know. You just assume because, like you said, they mention Kassan all the time. It's Kassan's always in some. So you're mentioning his name, but in theory and in all actuality, Kassan was still just a guest star.
Yeah.
He was just a lovable guest star that they kept writing in, but he was still just a guest star. And I feel like I took that and kind of put a responsibility upon myself to create this persona of Kassan to make him stand with the people who were the leads, even though he wasn't. So I kind of feel like it was my training for Power to when they actually did give me that responsibility and honor of being a lead, what we call in the acting industry a series regular, you know,
top of the call sheet guy, you know.
You know what I'm saying? It like that's a difference. And to me, there's a certain level of responsibility that comes with that. To just as a fan, if I take me being an actor out of it, I would hope that the people that I'm fans of watching when I watch these movies and shows, I would hope that there's a certain level of respect that they put into it, because what we do, we're lucky. We get to play makeup and make believe and dress up for a living and create art and tell dope stories. Like, bro, we're lucky. We're not, Joseph likes to say it all the time, we're not curing cancer, bro. We're not.
No.
We're blessed to be able to do what we do at this highly of a level. So I feel like the least I can do as an actor who's been given that position is to respect it, respect the position. So I do the homework. I dive deep into the characters. I create those backstories. I go to those places that he's from. I do it. Like I really like lock in, and I start the working out. I turn into Jannard. I work out every day. Kris, not so much, but Jannard works out. Kris, not so much. But when I know it's time for Kris to become Jannard, it's workout season. Like, you got to respect that position, because there's so many guys who are dying to be a series regular. When I was the guy dying to be a series regular, if you told me all I had to do was get my ass up and go to the gym every morning, I'll be there. So I got to think about that kid who's dying to be Kris right now, the same way I was looking at another guy dying to be him, and I got to respect it.
Yeah, you know, I bet it's interesting too, because when you were on Ballers, I'm certain there were probably actors on that show that probably looked at you and said, man, I would love to just be a guest star. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
To get to that level, I mean, I have done stand-in work and background work when I lived in New Mexico. So I got to work on shows like Breaking Bad and In Plain Sight and things like that. And it's interesting because, I mean, just to be a background actor on any kind of show is cool. But then when you get plucked out of the group to maybe be a featured background or a featured extra, or they give you a line, or you become a stand-in, that's a big deal. So, you know, it seems like, just watching you and other interviews that you've done, like, I wouldn't say method is the term, but you definitely do like take it very seriously. When you were filming Ballers, we've mentioned that a couple times, you were obviously probably working on a lot for that too, I would imagine. Were you doing a lot of that sort of thing for that show?
Yeah, for Ballers, I kind of tapped more so into a little bit more of myself, but a lot of my other friends, because in my first life, I was a star athlete. I played football and baseball.
Yeah, huge.
And I turned down a scholarship to college to keep acting. So for me, I kind of just tapped into, okay, Kris, what would have happened if you didn't turn it down, and maybe you did succeed, and you were 24 years old with $45 million in your bank account? How would you probably have acted? And then you weren't the one who had the discernment enough to remove certain nuances and people from his life in order to maintain and keep that position. Sure. You weren't quite smart enough to do the things that Kris was smart enough to do. Get rid of these people. Don't hang around these people that much. Time and a place for everything. If you were just still that wild kid, but you got 45 million in your account and you're 24, 25, now go. And then so I would tap into that. And then I would look at some of my friends who did end up going to the NFL. And then I just took some of my favorite players, their personas, and their attitudes and just mixed it up with what I thought Kris would have been had he not grown up or had to experience that level of money and fame that young, as opposed to me being 33. That's why
Yeah.
I'm glad I had to wait this long, because I would have probably squandered it had I not. If I'd have gotten it at 24, 23, I'd probably be the guy on TMZ or something.
That's a pretty big extreme, but yeah, maybe, I don't know. And it's interesting, obviously this show is just intense. Joseph Sikora, Lily Simmons, Gabrielle Ryan, Tommy Flanagan. I mean, the cast is just insane. And it just, again, going back to the beginning of our conversation, I knew this show was huge. I've been watching it, since the beginning, really. And the fact that they've been able to take this and just expand it so massively is huge. Like,
Mhm.
I think the possibilities are limited as far as where you guys can go with the story. You know what I mean? It's just huge.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you said, this cast, bro, amazing. Like, I hate to say it because it sounds cliche, but it's really the truth. Like, this is really the best cast I feel like I've ever been a part of, because of the simple fact that everybody had the same goal. I think we all knew the level of responsibility that came with it and what was riding on it, because we had all grew so fond of Joseph because he's the greatest leader that
Yeah, he seems that way.
I've seen on any set. Joseph Sikora is a true diehard leader, not going to ask nothing to you that he's not going to do himself type of guy. And he's just a no nonsense. And he said it like from day one when we had our original like cast Zoom meeting, when we were all like finalized that we had booked our respective roles. He brought us all together on a Zoom and told us, like, look, we're going to have fun, but this is a no bullshit zone, no bullshit policy. Like, we're all here having fun. Nobody's going to disrespect anybody. I'll make sure nobody ever disrespects you guys. I'll have your backs. Let's have each other's backs. Let's do this together. We're on this journey together. You know what I'm saying? And he stood by that. He really did. And
Yeah.
to me, it was just a different level. And we knew that Joseph had so much riding on this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this meant a lot to him. Like, he's Tommy. He's the one that embraced this character for 8 years, So we wanted to do it for him more so than anything. After he led us the way he did, we felt like we owed it to him to bring everything that we could to this, to give him that fighting chance that he deserves, because he's a star and he's finally got his own show. And I think the show's just continuously getting better and better with every episode.
Yeah, it's interesting too to be an actor like that who's been on a series for so long, to sort of have that kind of juice to get a spinoff or a second spinoff, or whatever. I've heard rumors that they're working on some other things potentially. So it's interesting just to see the trajectory of this entire show, and just how successful it's been. And just, again, going back to the beginning, the fan base you've been a part of. We've talked about Ballers. You've done other things. You were on Empire, and you've had other guest appearances on other great shows. Just, so many different things. When were you? Obviously, we talked about you being a star athlete. That was kind of where you began. But where did the transition happen, Kris, where you wanted to become an actor? Like, when did the shift happen for you and get bit by the bug?
Yeah. Well, that initial shift happened when I sat my mom down and told her, like, look, Mom, I know what we've been working towards this whole time with sports, but I kind of think I just want to stick with the acting, because I'd already done hardball. I did
Yeah.
hardball when I was like 10 or 11 years old. So I kind of, nothing really, I didn't get the bug then, because I think I was too young to fully be aware and conscious of what was going on for real. I just knew that it was something that I had never experienced, never thought about. And I was hanging out with Neo, and we were in a movie, and I didn't have to go to school. We were getting tutored. I didn't go to my actual school. So it was just cool. But then by 17, I started looking at it like, no, this could be a career. If I could play sports for a career, why can't I do hardball 1,000 times for a career? And so I started looking at it like that. And I was like, weighing the pros and the cons. As if I go out here get hurt, or what if I'm not as good as I think I am, or what if I go out here and get hurt and I don't make it to the NFL or the MLB, and I just have to go do whatever. I'm like, I didn't want that. I told my mom, I was like, Mom, you don't have to be Will Smith to not have to work a job. I said, I'm not doing it for fame. I said, I could walk down the street and no one ever recognizes me a day in my life, and I can live a comfortable, normal life, but it can be on my own terms, and I can live my dream and get paid for the dream and never have to punch a clock a day in my life. And I said, and I don't have to be Will Smith to do it. And I said,
Yeah.
I feel like in the NFL and MLB, you kind of got to be either Ken Griffey or Tom Brady to really not have to work.
Yeah, that's an understatement for sure. That's
Yeah,
funny.
so that's kind of when that original bug hit me. And then again, it hit just over the course of like more life, because
Sure.
I got emancipated when I was 17.
Okay.
I lived in Chicago. My family lived in Georgia. And I was in Chicago on my own. I had my own apartment. I lived in a whole nother school district, but I didn't want the school to know. So I would drive an hour away just to stay, never not have to transfer schools in my senior year. I would drive every morning, wake up early and go
Wow.
to my real school. And while working at Walgreens and going to football practice and baseball practice and going to auditions and that's what I did my senior year. So from like 17 to like 22, 23, it was just a lot of constant, like, just letdowns and watching all the people you went to high school with get the good job, get a house already, have a car, have kids and a family
Wow.
and a wife and stuff. And meanwhile, I'm just still couch surfing and like with nothing, didn't go to college, and I'm just sitting there like, bro, like, okay. And now you're too old to get that scholarship is void now. You're too old to go out there now. It's like, yeah, bro, you got to lock in. Not only are you're going to be an actor. There's no I want to be.
Yeah.
You're going to be an actor because it looks like you've wasted too much time. And
Wow.
and now I'm watching everybody else around me I went to high school with, and I'm just sitting there. Facebook keeps you up with all the people you know in real. I feel
Yes.
like Facebook is your real life.
Yeah.
Instagram is the life you've created, and
Eh,
Twitter is your entertainment.
Yeah.
So Facebook, the real life people, is like all the people middle school. Even I got people I went to third grade with, fourth
I
grade.
have friends that I went to, first
Yeah,
grade.
that's what Facebook is. It's all your aunts and your old
Yeah.
8th grade teachers and everybody. They're all your Facebook friends. So I would see that, and I'm like, oh man, Brian just started a business and a company. He just bought an 18-wheeler. He got married. He bought a 3-bedroom house. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, I don't even have a driver's license. I'm 27. I don't even have a driver's license. So I'm just sitting there like, wow. And I just had to that's when it hit me. It was like, dude, if you spent the right amount of energy on this and actually take it serious and don't half-ass it, stop half-assing it. Stop trying to get by on just talent alone and do the work. And that's when things started to go right for me, when I finally locked in and just stopped relying on talent alone, because I kind of did that with sports. Like, I was the guy, I would watch the rest of the team. They're over there in the gym hitting the weights. I'm the guy just walking around the track talking to like the dance team or the cheerleaders chilling, but I know I'm going to start. And I know I'm probably still gonna score 20, or I'm gonna have a touchdown. And I kind of got by on that alone. Like Allen Iverson, we talking about practice. I was that guy.
Oh wow.
I was that guy at first. I was that guy because it worked for me. I was the guy who had the same headshot from 17 to 25, never got another one.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I don't like to give people my advice, because everyone's journey is different.
Yeah.
My method is not necessarily the key to it, but it was just my journey. That's how it worked for me. But then, like I said, I made that decision. I said, Kris, you're ridiculous. This is a 17-year-old you in this headshot, and you're wondering why you haven't been a series regular yet. Play the game, do the work. And things started to work from there. Once I got over the everything, stopped taking things personal, got over myself, and just stayed the course, and everything just started to happen.
I mean, there's a lot of talented people in Hollywood and LA, but the hard workers, I think, are what separates,
Exactly.
everybody down the middle. Well, it's clearly paid off for you, my friend. You've just done so well, and this show is amazing. I want people to watch it. It's streaming now on Stars, the app. If you haven't caught up on episodes, be sure to check it out. Power Book Force. Such a great show. I'm excited. Kris, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. This is dope.